Welcome, everyone, to the 21-Day Challenge, the Catch 21-Day Challenge, and this is day 18. So we're coming to the end, folks. At least of the challenge. Life continues to go on and challenge us every day, but our challenges here are to help us stretch our thinking, and so read the Catch, and then notice that every day in the Catch we've got a list of questions that Marty has spent a lot of time putting together, and they're fantastic because they're not like Bible study questions. They're questions that make you think about your life and make you think more deeply about the passage, or maybe how does this fit, and how does it fit into our experience? That's really what Marty's good at. So go through those questions, and then we would love to hear from you. We've asked a few questions. Part of the challenge is for you to think about this and see it, work it into your life, and then tell us some stories about how it's going. And like how did you see that? How did you sense that you were a vessel yesterday or today? And what was the earthenware? What was the earthiness of your vessel? What was the humility? What was the humanity? What was the weakness that you experienced? And how did Christ's strength come through to you? And so, in other words, let's start putting this stuff into our life and see what it looks like. And so, tell us about that. We'd really love to hear from you. So now we, after talking about the earthen vessels and the treasure and the earthen vessels, and remember, the whole deal yesterday was all contrast. The contrast between God's presence and in our life, and us, our humanity, our weakness, our inadequacy, and all of those things. That contrast is supposed to be there so that people will realize that it's God, not us. It's not coming from us. The power comes from God. And I'm convinced that the next two verses are God's way of saying, and just in case you're not getting the message across, I'm going to help you get it across by taking your vessel, and I'm going to put it through a whole bunch of stuff that's going to force the power out of you so that people will see. This is really important. I call this the fine print of the Christian life, mainly because a lot of people don't know about this. And we've been sold a bill of goods by a lot of preaching and a lot of publishing, and the whole American dream has wedded itself in many ways with Christianity, and this whole idea that we try to sell Christianity by the fact that you're going to be happy and you're going to be wealthy and everything's going to go great for you. Your life, you're going to get fixed. Everything is going to be so much better. Well, what if everything's worse? What if you become a Christian and it gets worse? In some ways, I think that's exactly what Paul is saying here. It could be, and I think it will be, in some ways worse, because the worst pushes out the power, where people can see it, and they'll see that it's God and not us. Just listen, it's exactly the way he explains it here. We are pressed on every side by troubles, but not crushed. With every one of these things, there's two forces working against each other. One is pressed from outside, but not crushed, because there's a pressure from the inside pushing back out. And so when we go through troubles and we find out that there is a power in us to meet those troubles and to give us the strength to go through it, that's part of our witness. That's part of what people are going to see when they walk along with us. They're going to find that out. And so all of these things are meant to do that. They're meant to press us from the outside so that the pressure from the inside overcomes and it comes out and is made clear. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair. I love that one. I mean, who of us has never been perplexed? Come on. I mean, I'm perplexed every day. Are you not? Aren't there things that you can't figure out? Things about your life that you don't understand. And maybe even you have more now that you're older than you did earlier. You know? Life is perplexing. It's a paradox. You know, doubts are still there. We still struggle with mental issues and trying to figure, how can you possibly figure out God and God's will? It's way beyond us. His word, His ways, the scripture even says, His ways are not our ways. And so His ways are beyond our understanding. And so life will perplex us. But that's okay. Expect that to happen, because we will never be driven to despair. We will never throw in the towel. We will never totally lose hope, because Christ is in us. The power is in us to go on even when we're perplexed, when we can't figure it all out. Okay? We are hunted down or persecuted, but never abandoned by God. This applied a lot more in Paul's day, because Christians were persecuted more in those days than we are now. But we are persecuted in subtle ways when we believe. There are a lot of people actually today who kind of have an interesting persecution, I think, today, because Christians have such a bad name today, and they have Christians have a bad reputation that is not. It didn't come from Christ, and it didn't come from the scriptures. It came from a lot of bad associations that have happened culturally, and so in many ways we are persecuted a little bit. People find out you're a Christian, now they don't want to be around you, or they judge you. You know, just like we do too. We all judge too quickly, and people can judge you as a Christian, and yet persecuted, but never abandoned. We're never left alone. And then the last one is the one that, this is the tough one. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed. These are the real. This is disease, cancer, divorce, things that completely wipe us out, and death in the family of a loved one. They knock us down, but not out. They knock us down. We go through those things. But the whole point is, when we do that, we aren't destroyed. We keep going. And that ability to keep believing is a part of that faith which needs to show, which is our witness to the world, which is the new covenant being expressed in our life. And so I think the point here is that we're not talking about anything. Isn't it interesting? This new covenant is always, we're never talking about stuff we have to go out and do. We don't do this, any of this. It's basically, Paul says, this is going to happen to you.
We don't ask for it.
Life is going to hit you. You know?
Just like our next door neighbor.
Yeah. But don't worry. Don't freak out. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Keep going. Keep believing. and discover that power, because the stuff that comes at you is there to actually show forth that, yeah, we're going through everything everybody else goes through. Yet, there's a power and a presence in our life. The light and the fragrance is still there. And all that is still going to be manifested through your life. And so, God allows this stuff to happen because of the people who are going to be touched around us when we go through stuff like this. And so we get this final point. Through suffering, our bodies continue to share in the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be seen in our bodies. You don't hear that taught very often.
It's not a happy one. As far as the Christian yoo-hoo life.
Yoo-hoo life. We still share in the death of Jesus, because the death of Jesus was death proclaimed upon this human experience and all of our sin. And so we still experience that. That's in our life. Yeah. But that's in our life so that we can also share in the life of Christ at the same time. And so that's the important thing here. They're both here at the same time. The suffering and the power, the persecution, the presence of Christ, the pressure from the outside, the pressure from the inside. Struck down, but not out, not knocked out. Both of these things are present in our life at all times, and that's the point. It's not overcoming it and everything's just sweet and hunky dory. It's we're going at it at the same time, and life hits us, and the power of Christ hits us too at the same time.
Well, John, this doesn't sound like the Goody Two Church. That
No.
that everything is perfect and beautiful, and we're all marvelous. And don't you wish that you could be a part of us and our little club, which I guess is pretty much the summation of chapter 3. But chapter 4 is stepping into no. We're joining humanity, because it's this ministry, which is not our ministry. It is His ministry, and we're set free in it. For what? So that we can be persecuted. Well, did we sign up for that? As new believers, we did.
Yeah.
As new believers, we did understand what it was to be hard pressed down, but not left in despair. Here's the thing: we are pressed down on every side, but not crushed or left in despair. Here's the thing. As a believer, because the Lord is within me, I can be hard pressed. But because of the Lord Christ within me, I will never, ever be crushed. Ever. And so there's there's some good news for, as far as our lifestyle with Lord and confidence that we can walk with. But here's the thing. How dare us not care about the people who have experienced horrific things that we can relate to? Yeah, I understand what you're talking about when you've been pressed down on every side. I get the fact that you're feeling crushed. Let me connect you to the power here. Not because obviously I don't get it, because I'm down here at the bottom with you. To be persecuted, but not abandoned. Wow, many people have blown it through sin. May it be abortion, maybe they're concerned about their sexual identity, maybe whoever knows what it is. But the reality is that there's a sense of persecution, and they're believers. We're talking about believers. There's a sense of persecution, and guess what? The Lord never ever leaves them ever. Never. So why should we? Yeah. Why should we go? Oh, that's good. Put you over here. That's good. We can't be a part of that yucky sin. We want to know what we are, the sin. And we are experiencing it. We can, when someone comes and says something that's happening in their life, we go, I'm with you. I may not have experienced the same thing you are experiencing right now, but I get it because I've been there and I know it. And here is the difference. I'm not crushed.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah. I like the way you brought up that persecution part. I've never thought of it that way. I always think of persecution as far as, persecuting believers. But we get persecuted for certain sins, especially.
Well, today is an issue-oriented church,
Yeah.
and they're grappling with real life realities. But what we need to do is, in order to grapple with those real life realities, is to rise above it, to be in a place with the Lord and experiencing it. We may not have had, an abortion, but guess what? We have had something that was not okay, and that God, we've been forgiven. We've not been crushed. So why should we crush them?
Amen. That's good. That's really good. Well, I think, and now, did you hear all those dings and
Is that Chandler?
We're getting pressed. Yeah, someone's putting pressure on us right now, and so as soon as we're done here, we're going to probably have to deal with something.
Yeah. You're right. It could be just Chandler. I always think first that it's Chandler.
Okay,
but the reality is that
someone
so
is
many
really
other people
trying
are
to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
It's Chandler or it's Annie.
Oh no, or it's Susan or it's Bill or the other person, George this morning. It's your congregation, John.
Yep.
Your Simon
And that's
Church.
good. And that's good.
And they should call at any time.
Yeah.
24/7.
Okay, everybody. So goes day 18. Stick with us. 3 more days. Don't miss it. All right.